to read out just a four-line poem, if I may. This is called Untitled, because we're talking about men and women and gender parity. Untitled. The swollen silver sky hangs on men with eyes of steel, executing their selected roles of hegemonic masculinity. So hegemonic masculinity is a pretty strong term. Finally came to you as a decision to bring these poems together, which were obviously written over time, and put it to the public in this incredibly beautiful and very touching collection?
Thank you, Mala. I think I was, as you said, quite diffident about bringing out a creative work. For an academic, I think it's much more, it's like a minefield to do so. And I think, as you said, the poems have been written from time to time because it started with a feeling of humiliation, rejection. Because as a child, I used to write poetry, and once I showed my poetry to my teacher. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the teacher. I can't remember what she taught. But I can remember her words because she said, "Where did you get these poems from?" And it was not a compliment. So after that, you know, it annihilates you. So I've been writing for myself, basically for reflection and so on. And then comes COVID, and then comes cancer, and the whole world is sitting down and thinking and reflecting on the past, on the present, on the future, on life and death, and so on. And so was I. And so then, because I was also in a state of crisis because of illness, somehow, somewhere down the line, you stopped caring, as it were, stopped giving a shit, basically. So in that context, the poetry was written in that context. And then Penguin was kind enough to take me on. And actually, I had been very pompous and perhaps a little, what's the word for it? Maybe esoteric, because I had titled the book In Extremis and Other Poems, and Penguin felt that it was a little too academic. And in retrospect, I do agree. And they came up with another poem, the first poem, Blood Orange, as the title poem, and I didn't want to give that impression either. So then we decided on Unexpectedly. And of course, I hate the color orange. So this title came about from a list of possibilities that I had given Penguin. And I think Millie decided on Unexpectedly.
Well, thank you. I completely agree with you. There comes a time in one's life and says, you know, I don't care what people think about me anymore. And I'm going to write what I want to and do it for myself. And those who will read it, fine. And the book will find its own path. And the path that this particular book has taken is absolutely remarkable. So my second question is a somewhat broad-based one, because we often talk about the personal being the political. Now, when you come to women's writing, as we know, that it has a very wide connotation of the personal is not the intimate personal, but it is the experience of gender discrimination, gender positioning, and issues of that matter, equality, equity. And that the politics is not something out there, but politics is in everything that we say and do. So if with that in mind, in the context of your work, Maitri, how deeply does the situation of sort of gender positioning in Sri Lanka work? And particularly, how does it enter your poetry?
I think it's a bit of a difficult question. The personal is the political was the adage of the personal is or that is not to say that the political is also the personal, especially for me in that context, because some of the poems also come from experience. And one thing I would like to emphasize is that, you know, you can't attribute intention to the poet, because in a sense the poet might have one intention, the reader might be reading other intentions into the poetry, as you all know. So there will always be that conflict or that gap or a big chasm between the reader and the poem, but the poet. But going on from there, for me, the political, in terms of the violence that our country has gone through, that Sri Lanka has gone through in my lifetime, from the time I was small, we had intermittent ethnic violence, religious fundamentalisms, we have had student insurrections, we have had state-sponsored violence, and we have had all kinds of violence. Of course, not forgetting SGBV and domestic violence and all the other types of violence one comes across in daily life. So to that extent, then the poetry comes from those conditions of violence. And in a sense, one would say, okay, that some of the poems are, the poetic matter is also violence. The imagery might be violence, the lyric might be violence, but that is not to say that one is espousing violence. Of course, we had a poet in Sri Lanka in the 1970s writing, who was called Lakdasa Wickramasinghe. He saw the poet's role as a kind of a terrorist, waiting on the sidelines to throw a bomb into the crowd. But I must say, I do not espouse violence in any means, not even in terms of counter-violence or retaliation. So going from there, I think I lost my trend of thought at this point. Shall we leave it at that?
I agree with you that the response to violence differs from one writer to another, one person to another, except that writers put it into words, so we have something concrete to turn to, where we say, okay, this is his or her viewpoint on violence. And I do notice that you're very balanced in presenting different kinds of things that were happening in Sri Lanka. I'm going to take you to a completely different area in your poetry, and that is the use of color.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to say something?
Actually, I think I forgot to answer your gender question.
Yeah, okay.
Because in the context of feminism, I don't think I really want to bang it down your throat if it didn't come into one's sentience in a way. So in a sense, some of the feminist angles comes in the fact that the poems are peopled by women. That I did as part of craft deliberately, to bring in women as people in the poems. Some are fictitious, some are real. I wanted to have, you know, these strong women characters. I wanted to have concepts that have come into feminist understandings also littering the poems in certain instances.
Yes, there are a lot of women-centered poems, but also I'm going to read out just a four-line poem, if I may. This is called Untitled, because we're talking about men and women and gender parity. Untitled. The swollen silver sky hangs on men with eyes of steel, executing their selected roles of hegemonic masculinity. So hegemonic masculinity is a pretty strong term, but we leave it at that and worry about it at some other forum.